August 1821, Durham, England. Don't touch him. Don't you dare touch. The woman leaned close to Arson Grey, Marquis of Somerville, and laid a small hand on the lord's broad chest. Sharp and fierce, jealousy twisted Henry Shaw's gut, held his insides in a vice-like grip. Henry didn't know her, yet he hated her, hated the pale blonde hair pulled back into a deliberately tousled knot, the soft curves of her hips, draped by the violet muslin gown, and the swells of her breasts, spilling from the dangerously low-cut bodice. Breasts which had captured Arson's full attention. Lush, voluptuous, the feminine ideal, Arson would be a fool to refuse this one. Unable to look away, Henry watched her hand slide down the black evening coat and past the trouser waistband. He grunted under his breath. What he wouldn't give to be in her place. To have Arson's bollocks in the palm of his hand. One corner of Arson's mouth pulled into a smile that held a distinctly bored edge, but Henry took no comfort in it. Arson had perfected the art of boredom. Clad entirely in black except for the flash of white of his shirt above his waistcoat and the meticulously tied cravat, the man exuded an effortless elegance that put other men to shame. A chunk of antique gold hair fell over one eye as Arson tipped his head down toward the woman. Fluttering her lashes, she leaned even closer, pressed those breasts against Arson's chest. Capturing the jade's wayward hand, he brought it up to grace her palm with a light kiss. Staring intently into her eyes, his lips moved. Breath held, Henry strained to hear but couldn't make out the words. At a good 15 paces they were too far away. The next instant the question, pressing heavily on his mind, was answered. Arson turned and, navigating through the clusters of guests, led the blonde, hand in hand, through a narrow door hidden along the white-panelled wall of the ballroom. Closing his eyes, Henry winced against the pain tearing at his chest. At least Arson was discreet. For that, Henry should thank him. It was hard enough to be in proximity to the handsome Marquis, to be able to look and never touch. But to be forced to stand alone, to watch Arson intimately touch another, Henry's heart would fracture for certain. He let out a sigh of defeat and brought his champagne glass to his lips, only to find it empty. He glanced right and left, then scowled. Not a drink within easy distance. He wasn't surprised. Only one footman had chanced to travel to Henry's corner of the ballroom all evening. Well, it wasn't a corner. Those were inhabited. The least travelled space was at the marble columns directly inside the double doors. For once Arson's guests entered the ballroom, they had little reason to leave. The soft strains of a waltz drifted from a curtained alcove and blended with the grunts, moans, and occasional squeals of delight. The musky scents of arousal and sweat hung heavy in the air. Jewel-toned silk gowns, along with black coats and trousers, littered the gleaming parquet floor. The partially lit chandeliers suspended from the high ceiling cast a veil of burgeoning twilight over the tangles of naked and partially clothed bodies on the black velvet divans scattered about the room. It wasn't even midnight, and already the guests had given in to the urges of the flesh. Henry's lips twisted in distaste. If he had a scrawny arse like Bellingham, he sure as hell wouldn't put it on display. Trousers around his knees, the man swived a woman against the wall not more than 10 paces from where Henry stood. Bellingham's complete lack of decorum would have gotten him exiled from one of London's haut ton affairs, but at Somerville Park such licentious behaviour was not only permitted, it was encouraged. For the week-long house party, Arson had stocked his remote Durham estate with the best whores, both female and male, that could be found in London, providing ample entertainment for the debauched lords and ladies of the temps, and the prospect of becoming the next mistress to Lord Somerville had drawn the choicest specimens of the demi-monde. Beautiful creatures designed solely for pleasure. They had been competing with each other for the past week to gain the coveted carte blanche. It appeared the pale blonde had succeeded where the others had failed. Henry tipped his head back against the marble column. Why the hell am I here?
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.